Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I realised that during my journey here on YouTube that you guys have seen me put on my foundation a whole bunch of times, like millions of times, and I never actually explain what I'm doing in those videos, and I just kind of like put the makeup on. But I thought today I might go into a little bit more in depth of what I actually do when I'm applying my foundation. So I thought I'd share with you some of the little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way to achieve a flawless face. So the first thing I do before I apply my foundation is apply a base, L'Oreal Magic Lumi Pure Light Primer, which I adore, and that's what I'm going to use today. They say a primer is to make a foundation last a little bit longer. I don't know whether it does that or not, because the foundations that I would use would be pretty full coverage and would last kind of the length of time that I want them to last. So I just apply this base. This base kind of has like a metallic-y kind of effect off it, and just kind of makes your skin glow a little bit. So once I have my base applied, I always take my foundation, so I don't put my concealer on next. I put my foundation on. The one I'm just using today is a MAC Studio Fluid Fix. My first tip for applying foundation is to apply it to the back of your hand. As you can see, I've done that now. The reason I do this is, number one, it heats up the product so it kind of glides on a little bit smoother, and the second thing is you don't overuse your foundation. So if you're just dabbing your foundation on your face, you don't really have much control over what you've put on your face. It's kind of on there, so you just have to blend it out. It can end up looking a bit cakey, and you know, you might end up using too much foundation. So I always apply it to the back of my hand for those two reasons, and I just am using a beauty sponge today. This is the one from Real Technique, and I always just start on the cheeks. I don't know why, but I just start on the cheeks and I blend down to the jaw. Another tip is to put a bit of foundation on your ear. If you're using self tanners and you don't apply them to your ear, obviously it'll be a bit different colour, so that's one kind of giveaway that you're wearing foundation. And then to make sure that you apply the foundation down your jaw, because I mean there is nothing worse than foundation line just on the jaw. I kind of make this like weird face where I have like three chins, and I just blend it down. And then I can just see if the foundation has made it the whole way down my jaw and I don't have any uncomfortable or embarrassing streaks. And I just bring a little bit down my neck as well, which you would see me do a lot in videos, just to kind of mesh everything together. Another tip I would recommend to do is when you get to this part of your head, so just the tops of your forehead, to very lightly blend it into the, not into your hair like, but into the hairline. So if you're like me and you like a foundation just a little bit darker than your skin tone, the reason I do that is because I self-tan, if you do not apply it into your hairline, you will be able to see like the little white cast that it leaves, and it just looks really unnatural. So next of all, I'm going to apply my concealer, and if you're like me and you have kind of dark under eye circles, you want to get a concealer that's a shade or two lighter than your foundation. The best concealer that I have found of recent times is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. A major issue that women have with under their eyes is creasing, and I find that that does increase. So the reason you go a shade or two lighter is you want to brighten up that area. You can see from this eye to that eye, this one is significantly brighter. It's more awake. I look a little bit more fresher, and it just gives the appearance of, or conceals the appearance of, dark circles. So with your concealer, you can leave it just literally underneath your eyes, or you can do what I do, is just kind of bring it down in a triangle. So just from here down and upwards like that, and that will give the illusion of even a brighter under eye area. Now again, for concealer, when people have an imperfection on their face, or they have a spot or whatever, and the main thing they want to do is conceal it and hide it. Now I find that's very difficult to find a concealer that matches your foundation. Now I know I have trouble with it, and if I find a concealer that matches my foundation, it's of a different consistency, and then I end up kind of caking that area. So what I tend to do is take a brush like this, and what I do is I just kind of dab a little bit more foundation onto the area where I have the spot or the imperfection. It just kind of covers it a little bit more. So no matter how many shades lighter your concealer is to your foundation, if you do not set it with the right kind of powder, it just will be non-existent. All the work you would have done would just be obsolete. So a powder that I always use is the e.l.f. This is called high definition under eye setting powder. It's completely translucent, but I just pat this underneath my eye, and as you can see, it's instantly just brightening up the area as well. The brush I always use it in is the setting brush, and it's just kind of like a little flat brush like that. I don't know if you can see that. A little brush that fits nicely under the eye is what you want to use. So like I said, some people do complain of creasing. If you do have a problem with creasing under your eye area, no matter what concealer you use, it just continues to crease, bring this little brush with you, because during the day you can kind of just, if you just kind of dab it along, I find that it moves the product, you know, it moves the product around a little bit and kind of removes the appearance of those creases. I do that rather than going in with my finger. Number one, your finger is you're applying too much pressure to that area. It's not good to apply too much pressure to your under eye area. Also, it will end up picking up the product that's underneath your eye, and you'll end up moving it around a little bit more, or removing the product completely. When I'm applying powder to my face, I use either a pressed powder or loose powder. I don't think there's any other type of powders you can use, but my loose powder I would use would be the e.l.f. high definition powder. I really like this, and the pressed powder I use is the 005 Silky Beige from Rimmel. Stay Matte, I think that's what it's called, and they're just two of my favourite powders. They're what I use all the time. Switch and change between two different brushes. One brush is the e.l.f. powder brush. It's a flat top brush, and I just find that it's great for applying powder. And the second brush is the blush brush from Real Techniques, and I just like the big head in it because it's, you know, really easy to get around your face. And I'm going to take my e.l.f. loose powder. This powder is completely translucent, so number one, it won't give another colour to your foundation if you're kind of happy with the colour you've achieved from your foundation. All it will do is set your makeup and stop it from kind of budging around, and I just think it makes your foundation look a bit flawless. If you use a coloured powder, it can sometimes make your foundation look a bit darker, or if it's too light, give you a white cast. So next I'm going to move on to bronzer, and this is like my favourite part of any makeup, is contouring and bronzing up the face. So the first thing I would recommend is to get a brush like one of these two. This is the e.l.f. blush brush, and it's just a flat top brush, but I just find the little tapered top in it is really good at getting into smaller areas of the face. Or a 109 brush from MAC, just it's great at getting into, like I said, the small crevices in your face and giving a more defined kind of contour. The most important thing to do is always to contour with a matte bronzer. If you contour with a shiny bronzer or a shimmery bronzer, it'll look absolutely horrendous. And number two, I would never really contour if I'm having a serious breakout on my cheeks. Rarely happens, but just if you are prone to kind of breakouts on your cheeks, if you use a contour, it can end up looking a little bit muddy on your face. So how I contour is I find the hollows of my cheeks, usually by doing this, and you can just find the hollow of your cheek. And then I will take my brush and I will just go to the hollow of the cheek and kind of sculpt it out in a straight line. Usually the hollow of your cheek would be around there, and then you want to bring it back as far as, you know, this little bit in your ear, your tragus, as I just know that it's called that because I got that piercing. So you just want to bring it from the hollow of your cheek just back that far. You don't want to bring it too far forward because it looks really unnatural, and you don't want to bring it too far down because you are losing the whole impression of contouring. So as you can see there, I have a line, and it's not very defined now because I've only using the tiniest amount of powder. So you just want to kind of keep blending it back and forth, not picking up any more product at this stage. I'm just blending it. I'm blending it in an upward motion again because I don't want to lose, like I don't want to bring it down here too far. And then I'm not bringing it too far forward because it looks unnatural. So it's going to look crazy at the moment, but that's why blending is so important. You just keep blending. And that's your contour. Now it looks very strong on camera, but it's really not that strong in real life. Next of all, you want to take your bronzer that you bronze the top of your head with. Now I use two different bronzers on my face, one for contouring and one for applying to the tops of my forehead. You can use the same bronzer to do both, but I just like this matte MAC mineralized skin finish in natural, and mine's in the colour dark. I just prefer for what I'm doing. It has no shimmer in it either, but it's just kind of a different tone of bronzer. I always apply it to my temples, and then I will apply it up to as far as my forehead. I have quite a large forehead. It's not overly large, but it's just, I don't like it. So I will bring my bronzer down just a little bit to give the appearance that my forehead is shorter than it is. So to make my forehead look a bit shorter, I bring my bronzer down, and then I just apply it to my temples, because that's where I would naturally get dark or get tanned if I'm out in the sun. Other people contour down their nose. I don't really have a huge nose, so I don't tend to do that. And the only place I don't like is kind of the tip of my nose. It kind of slopes a bit forward. So I will take a brush, not like that one, like this one. My battery totally just died on me there, so I can't remember where it was. But I think I was talking about contouring. And I'm sorry, there's a big white cast over my face. It's so sunny today, and I'm really sorry about the lighting. So next, I was saying, like, if you want to contour your nose, that's perfectly fine. I would take a little brush like this and just kind of draw a little bit of a V just at the tip of my nose. I'm not a big fan of the tip of my nose. Don't ask me why. It's just one area on my face I absolutely detest. So I would take a little bit of bronzer and just apply it kind of there on my nose, and that's all I would do. Some people contour down the side of their nose. If you have a wider nose, that's perfectly okay to go and do that. But I just feel like my nose is very narrow anyway, and the only area I have problems with is, like I said, my little snout. So I just contour there. Also, another thing I do is I contour underneath my bottom lip. This will just give the illusion that my bottom lip is bigger than my other one, which I will go on, and when I'm talking about the face or talking about the lips, I will describe more. I'm going to take a number 7 blush, and this is in the colour Candy Pink. I'm not sure if it's available anymore, but it's just this really nice kind of sheer pink colour. You can do two things when you're applying blush. You can apply to the apples of your cheeks, so when you smile, they're the apples of your cheeks. You can apply it directly on there and blend backwards, or you can start somewhere around here and bring it backwards. That's usually kind of where I would start, because number one, I have applied my concealer down that far and I don't want to undo the concealing process, so I kind of just start there and I just blend backwards. Now I have a second, what's this brush called again? The setting brush. I have a second one of these, and that's where I apply my my highlighter with. So I don't have a huge amount of tips for highlighter. One thing I do is I take it in a C shape around my face like that. So I just start kind of so you're going bronzer, blusher, highlight, and I take the highlight just around there and apply it just in the C shape just around my face. You can highlight down the center of your nose. Sometimes I do that depending on the makeup look. I'll do it for today's video. I always apply my highlighter to my cupid's bow like this. So they're my main tips on achieving a flawless face. I want to just talk finally about the eyes, your eyebrows and your lips, just to complete the look. With my eyebrows, what I do is I take a brush like this, it's a little spoolie, and I will brush through my eyebrows just to kind of neaten them up. Any hairs that are going a little bit kind of astray, I will put them back in place. And I will also trim my eyebrows from time to time, so I'll brush them up and kind of just trim the tops of them if they're getting just a little bit unruly. And I can't stress this, is to keep under here neat and tidy. So remove any stray hairs with the tweezers. Just when you have underneath your eyebrows here kind of growing little sparse hairs all over the place, it tends to make your makeup look messy. I don't know why, and your face just looks messy. I take my eyebrow kit, and this is the one from Benefit. I take the powder first. I will start at the bottom and I will just trace the natural shape of my eyebrows. So that's just what I do. I just do really short strokes and I just fill in my natural eye shape. There's nothing to it. Just at this end my hair is very sparse, so I will kind of not draw a line. I don't want it to be unnatural. I'll kind of just draw a little bit of a line here, and I will push the product upwards like that. And then finally, when the powder is applied, I will take my gel product, my brow gel, and I will just push that through the highest part of my eyebrow, just the arch there, and just down onto the tail, just to kind of darken that area and just make it a little bit more emphasized. So for the eye look, I'm just going to keep it really simple. I have the Loracc Pro palette here. You use whatever you have handy. I'm going to use the colour Taupe. It's just a matte brown, and Champagne, which is kind of a shimmery nudie kind of colour. I don't know if you can see that. I could recommend any brush in the whole entire world for blending. It would be the 217 from MAC. It's just my all-time favourite. So I'm just going to apply that to the crease. You can feel your crease with your brush. It's just kind of in there, just in the socket of your eye. You can feel it there. And I'm just going to kind of blend it back and forth. This brush is so big and fluffy, it just kind of blends everything out seamlessly. The bigger the brush, the more of a blend you will get. The smaller the brush, the more defined a look it will give you. So you can take a little pencil brush as well and some more of that matte brown colour and just apply it on your lower lashes. And finally I'm just going to take that shimmery colour and apply it on the lid. I'm going to take it with my finger because it just applies so much easier with my finger. Now you can take that same colour and go into the inner corner, which I like to do, just brighten up that area as well. And also just apply the same colour to underneath your brow. So next what you can do is you can apply your eyeliner whatever way you want to. What I usually do is I just would put like a little bit of black just on my waterline. So I'm just going to show you tips that I've achieved along the way for your lips. The first thing I do is line my lips. Now, not everybody likes to line their lips. Some people think that it's not very particularly nice. I like to line my lip with a lip pencil that is a very neutral pink, or like Your Lips Only Better kind of colour. And what I just do is I overemphasize, sorry I can't really talk when I'm doing this, but what I do is I overemphasize my lip line. So I just draw like the tiniest amount out further than my lip actually goes, just to give it a larger kind of appearance. Then I take any lipstick that you like. The one that I always go with is Cream Cup from MAC. I just find that it is the most natural kind of look on my lips. And because I've already overemphasized my lips with that lip pencil, just everything kind of fills in a little bit nicer. Finally, I'm going to talk to you about mascara. So this is one of the things that I hate doing on my face, because I'd have my look completed and then I'd go ahead and apply my mascara and I would blink and it'll be all over my face. So what I do is I just take the wand and I just kind of put it underneath my lashes and wiggle it and kind of pull them through like that. So I coat underneath my lashes and then I coat on the top of them as well. So what I do for my top lashes is I just brush them up like that. I get my mascara wand just in at the base and I kind of wiggle it and just drag them up straight. I never really curl my eyelashes, I just never really feel it necessary. And then over this side, just in the corner of the eye, instead of flicking them out, you're losing a bit of the length. What I usually do is I pull them in the other way. Then I leave that one coat to dry and I do the same in the other eye. Just get it underneath the lower lashes, wiggle it about and pull it through. What I do tend to do from time to time is I will leave the mascara wand there and I will blink and kind of drag the product up through my lashes. So again, just bringing my lashes up straight, even in the corners where they want to flick out that way, I drag them up straight. And I kind of just leave my brush at the base of my lashes, wiggle it there and blink, and it kind of just pulls a little bit more product through. I usually just do 2 coats. I've always found that's kind of enough. If you do not like spidery lashes, then do not do what I do, because they'll end up being really full. I'll just kind of zoom in and show you what I achieved with them. So that's just what my eyelashes look like with all those layers of mascara on them. They're not the longest of lashes or the fullest of lashes, but I just have to deal with what God gave me and kind of just keep applying the mascara. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on how to achieve a flawless face and kind of just some of my tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. This video, if you did, please give it a big thumbs up and rate and subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye guys!